This is part 3 of my Invisible Ink AI ghostwriter video series. And I'm going to show you prompt 2 and how you customize it. So I'm here on my website on effectiveedu.com. And if you go over to prompt 2, and again, I'll go back. If you're not in this already, go to effectiveedu.com, effectiveedu.com. Go to the thoughts link at the top right and hit Invisible Ink. And there will be a link in wherever you found this video in the comments. You're going to go to this page and you're going to go down to the Invisible Ink prompt 2. And if you haven't registered, you do need to put in your name and email address. That way I know who's getting these. They're free. Please put in something real. And you're going to click to copy that and then bring over a text editor. This is just Notion, but you can use any text editor. And you're going to just paste right into there. Okay, so this is the thing that it generates. So it starts, and you could put a title in, Invisible Ink prompt. Okay, so it starts by saying, notes for you, the user, and it tells you exactly what to do. Replace the blanks in the second paragraph under these notes with your description of yourself. So here's the blanks in the second paragraph. Now, it generated a divider line because of Notion's trying to be helpful, but that is the blank. So this is the second paragraph. So, oh, I'm sorry. No, the second paragraph is here. These are the blanks. So this question is about the description of yourself. So here's the first paragraph. Here's the second paragraph. It wants the description of myself. I'm going to grab that. This is the same one that I used in the second video. And let's just get rid of that, clean it up. Okay, I'm an expert educator. Cool, so we got that part. I'm going to delete that step. Second step, replace the blanks in background A with one or more writing samples. If you have more than one, label them writing sample 1, etc. at the top. So this is the thing that I was looking at before. This is background A, writing samples. I'm going to delete that line. And I want to drop in all of my writing samples. And so again, I'm going to use the same samples that I used in that second video. Just grabbing them all here. Copy them, paste them in. All right, that's going to make this pretty long now. Oops, dismiss. That's now pretty long, but that's fine because all of this is just going straight into ChatGPT. Okay, we've done that. Done. Replace the blanks in background B with a description of your audience. All right, I'm going to grab my audience description. And let's go down and find background B. So it says end of background A, background B, my audience. So that's the part that I'm pasting into. And I'm going to just make a new line and paste. There's my audience. Okay, get rid of that. If there are any steps you'd like to skip completely every time you run this, you can delete those steps. So for example, if you update the guidelines and you don't need a conversation, delete step 2. So guidelines. Let's go down and find our guidelines. Right here, it says you will always follow these guidelines when writing. Now, I always want the AI to write a hook. Always start every writing with a hook. Okay, I also want it to end with a conclusion. Oops. Okay. I also always want it to use as much of my own writing as possible. Okay, I didn't want to write those things in because not everybody's going to want their writing to start that way. I'm usually going to use this for LinkedIn and repurposing articles that I've written into, or let me rephrase, I'm going to use this for social media, I think, and repurposing articles that I've written into smaller forms. And so the writing that I want to do is pretty much always going to look like that. So I can always change it later if I don't want it to do those things. But now that I've done that, I've updated the guidelines, I don't need step 2 at all. So I'm going to go down here and say, let's get rid of step 2 right there. Step 2, guidelines. So I don't need it to tell me the bulleted rule of the list of rules it'll follow. I don't need it to ask me for anything. I've put in these things, whatever, right? I don't need any of this. So I can just hit delete right there. Okay. Now let's see what else I might remove. So we've done the guidelines thing. And then, okay, here, if after running for a few times you're satisfied it understands your style, delete step 3. So step 3, and you notice I didn't change all the numbers of the steps. It can skip right from step 1 to step 3. It's just going numerically, so that's fine. Don't bother to change those. But this step is called planning, and that's the one where it's going to format as a list to say, this is how I'm going to mimic your style. These are the conflicts that I've found. If I don't want it to do that, I can just take that whole step out and save all of that time of it writing that stuff. I'm going to go ahead and take that out. It's actually been pretty good with the analysis of my writing, so I'm going to just go ahead and trust it, and you can put it back in if you don't like where that ends up. Okay. And then here it says if you delete steps, you don't need to renumber the following ones. Okay. And it says if you're nervous about deleting things, fine to leave them in. Fine. All right, so we got all that stuff done. If you're not using an image-enabled Gen AI, delete all of step 7. You can try DALL-E for image creation. I'll leave step 7 in, just so we can see what it does. That's this one where it generates the image. And I'm going to just go back and actually, I'm going to remove some other stuff. So when it generates my ghostwriting, I don't need it to say, here's all the things that can adjust. I just want it to say, do you want me to adjust anything? So I'm going to delete all of these things that it would post, that it would write. And I don't need it to say that twice. So I'm going to delete that. So you can really customize this a lot. You don't have to you don't have to leave it as is. Okay, you can change as much as you want or as little as you want. I also know I'm not going to do, well, that doesn't matter because it's an if, so I will give enough detail if I want it to change something. That's step 6, step 7, and fine, we can leave step 8. So I've removed several steps now, and copy and paste everything below. Okay, so we got everything done. I'm going to delete everything above here, just to make it a little bit cleaner. And so now that is my prompt. So this is much different from that original interactive prompt that I showed you in the first or in the second video, because this is now going to ask me a lot less. So I've copied that. I'm going to move that out of our way. Go over to ChatGPT and I'll start a new chat. And I'm going to paste in those instructions. Now, these instructions have my writing samples. It doesn't have my supplementary writing sample. That's the one that I still need to paste in because I'm going to change that probably every time I use this. But it has my writing samples, my audience description, my description of me. I customize the guidelines. This should go a lot faster than in that second video that I put out. So here we go. Oops. You do need to hit this little down arrow to get to the end of that. Oh, I forgot I could even customize that beginning part and get rid of some of that stuff. Well, that's interesting. It didn't actually start. Why did it do that? Let's see if I missed. Did I take something else out that I needed? Okay, hello. Okay, so it didn't actually get started. So let's just say start over. Well, that's interesting. Okay, let's bring this back in and see what we did wrong here. So the first thing it should have done, determine what we'll write. We actually don't even need this. I'm going to go ahead and just take this stuff out. I don't need it to write that every time. And which I for you today. Okay, and I'm going to take this out to speed it up too. Oops. I'm using single quotes, by the way, just because they work better for that copy and paste the thing on my website, but you can put in double quotes, it'll work. Now, I don't know why it did that. That should have run all the way through, but let's just try this one more time. I'm going to just start a new chat. There we go. Okay. So we don't need all that stuff. I took that out. I don't know why that didn't run this time. I have seen some erratic behavior today, so that maybe that they're just making some changes in ChatGPT. So what do I want it to write? This is going to be different probably every time. But again, if this is something that isn't going to be different every time, then you can hard code that in. Just the same as we did with the writing samples and such. So I'll use the same thing that I used in that second video. Okay, and look, it's skipped right ahead to the writing samples, or to the supplementary writing. So that's the article that I showed here. So I'd copy that out from here, paste it in. Oops. I almost did it again. Start with a yes or no. So I'll say yes. Okay, and there's the article. Nothing else to share. All right, yeah, I've been making a lot of videos today. So the point, though, is that it jumped over all of that stuff. Its next step would be to say, here's the here's the summaries of the articles that I would write. But we got there with basically just 3 questions instead of whatever it was, 5 or 6 or 7. So much faster to use that custom version of the prompt. And my recommendation is that when you get to my website, you definitely grab this one and customize it. But you'll get pretty much the same result as you saw in my second video. If you use the prompt 1, it's just going to take you a bit longer each time. All right, but happy ghostwriting. Please do let me know how you use this thing.